Good Monday morning, everybody. If you're out there on Rumble, I know you're commenting. Hopefully you're on Furycast and watching this, because that's where we are now. Right, Jim?
Yeah,
we're not seeing the comments yet on the side, so we're not quite sure what's happening yet, but we know you're out there. But literally zero comments. So hopefully this is streaming and we did that all correctly. Jim, what do you think? We good?
Yeah, it looks like we're streaming. I'm watching the thing. So if somebody could comment real quick that yes, we got you.
Yep, this is new for us. We are now here.
Because it's really weird.
It is. And so you're watching both things. Jim, that's a good way to start off today. Welcome everybody. We are here.
Said yes. I hope that means that they're following. Okay, so I'm
okay. I see somebody from X, but I'm just not seeing Rumble comments.
Yeah, it's Audrey.
Yep.
Hi, Audrey and Aiden.
Yep. Hey, hello, everybody. So
X is showing up. Rumble's not, and I think I know why.
You do?
I think people are watching us on the Two Guys Rumble.
Are they?
Not the Fear. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
All right. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and we'll correct that. Hey, first day here on the new network, and proud to be here on the Furycast Network. Correct. We got Jim Pfaff with us today. He's the president of the Conservative Caucus. Boy, we got a lot to unpack with him, don't we? I mean, all hell's breaking loose, right? I mean, within Congress and outside of Congress. LA's a crap hole, and we're going to talk about all that. That plus we got a top 5 at the end of the show. That is top 5 sports movies. Thanks to Buckeye for suggesting that. So all that. Huh?
I have a comment, by the way, but we'll finish
on sports movies
to you. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Why?
We'll get to it in a minute.
All right. So that plus so much more, Jim. New intro, new outro. Everything's new. We're proud to be here. Thanks to Crash and Kitty for that opportunity. All on what, Jim? What is this?
Live from the Furycast Network studio. It's Two Guys, One Coup.
Listen to this banger.
Oh yeah, intro. New intro, folks.
Yeah, listen, folks. Be right back.
You've just tuned in to Truth Uncaged. Two Guys, One Coup. Only on the Furycast Network.
Way like a battle cry, steel-tuned riffs set the sky on fire. No script, no leash, no fake parade. We bring the storm you're too scared to name. 2G, 1C, thunder with strange. Furycast Network, let freedom ring. Two guys, one coup, forged to defy, slicing through silence with metal that flies. March to the rhythm of violence and rage. Truth lock loaded, we've broken the cage. No puppets here, just blood and voice. This is the people's battle choice. 2G, 1C, roar and bold. Furycast forged in red, white, gold. Two guys, one go, never retreat. We own the volume and bring the heat. Two
That's a banger, bro.
We might need to. We might need to reduce that.
No, that's a banger.
That's great. It was.
That's
great.
100%.
By the way, is that us?
That's us, by the way. Yeah.
Love the hair.
Yeah, I know.
Because, folks, I wear a hat because you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Exactly. And in honor of our very first show, and we're going to bring Jim up here 1 second. We had this message for us. So stay tuned. Listen to
Folks,
this.
let me tell you, there's a podcast out there that's making waves. It's called Two Guys, One Coup. Incredible show. These guys, Dale and Jim, they're smart, they're tough, and they're not afraid to say what everybody else is thinking. They talk about the real issues. It's on the Furycast Network, which is doing tremendous work, by the way. If you're tired of fake news, if you want the truth, the raw, unfiltered, patriotic truth, you've got to tune in. Believe.
Thank you, President Trump, for that endorsement. We really appreciate it. Jim,
When he reached out to us, I was stunned.
I was shocked.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, it's probably thanks to Jim Pfaff, honestly.
First off, thank you, Leslie. We like it too. It's really cool, different. I know everyone's used to the old one. Everybody's here. Dale, it's just I think they're watching on something that I don't know, but we're just not seeing the comments.
Yeah,
I am
trolls
seeing
on
them.
truthful trolls on there.
Truthful
we're just not seeing
trolls
them, but
here.
we're seeing them there. Right.
Mini balls back.
Thank you.
So we've got our Southpaws on, but you don't really care about that. Tarna's here, Aiken's here.
Good morning, all. We really appreciate it. We'll have to figure out why we're not seeing the comments in the StreamYard side of things.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Woo is right, Kitty.
This is awesome. We're part of this new network, and folks, it's couldn't be more proud. Let's kick it and let's
who's our first guest? Who do we have? Jim, can you bring up Mr. Pfaff?
I will bring him up because this is vastly becoming one of our favorites, if not the favorite. So here we go.
Mr. Pfaff.
I'm here.
How are you? Did you like the new opening? You like that song?
So longer.
Your style of music, or is it?
It's banger. You know, my home heart style of music is country music, but boy, I love some good metal. That's really excellent. And sometimes you just got to drive it hard home. You got to be pushing it.
You do. You got to push it.
And
our very first guest on the new network.
And Jim, just to tell you, our top 5 today is top 5 sports movies, and you're gonna like one of my movies on the list. I guarantee you.
You're gonna like one of my movies on the list as well, Mr. Hoosier. So, by the way,
I'm also liking it with the Pacers being in the NBA playoffs. I've been a Pacers fan. As I tell people, I'm from Indianapolis. We run a little race there you might have heard of.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been Pacers fan since the ABA days when they and the Kentucky Colonels dominated the ABA, and I go way back with the Pacers. So it's kind of exciting, even though it's kind of a tough loss last night.
It was,
but it was expected a little bit though. Because that's what Oklahoma City does.
That's right.
Oklahoma City is a great team. They've got excellent players. They're well coached. But I'm telling you, Rick Carlisle's an amazing coach. He's won an NBA championship. He was with the Pacers last time they were in the finals. And the only reason they lost the finals is because my then friend Rick Smits, the center of the Pacers, you know, Shaquille O'Neal was just a tick better and just couldn't get it done well enough down in the paint. But they went, I think, six or 7 games.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it was incredible. He came out of
Larry
nowhere.
Bird coaching them, by the way.
Well, that was the Davis, Dale and
Dale and Antonio Davis,
and of course Reggie. I mean,
well,
he was
Mark
pretty
Jackson.
Good. Yeah, that was a good team.
It was
that
actually a really great team. It's one of the better NBA teams in recent years.
Correct. Yeah. It's an incredible run they're putting on. I mean, I was kind of stunned when the Cavaliers, which is my team, literally just screwed the pooch on them. But then now you can kind of see they're just pure talent. I mean, they are just on a roll.
It's been a very interesting. By the way, I'm going to tell you that I'm a college basketball fan. So I'm not a big NBA fan, but I've always loved the Pacers. But I don't sit all year long and follow NBA. But I have to tell you, this run through these playoffs has actually been pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
The two teams that have had the best runs in the playoffs this year are playing each other right now.
Exactly.
And one other thing that I find really interesting is the Pacers having taken game one, they actually are at a home court advantage right now.
Yep.
So
now they are.
The next two games are in Indianapolis. Then there'll be one in Oklahoma City, and then it goes right back in. If they win all three home games, they're going to be NBA champions.
That'd be cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Time to burn down Indianapolis. I mean, isn't that what we do when we win championships? Or
Yeah, we have a couple comments. Miss Leslie, what's the NBA? Grid gear. NBA is not real basketball anymore. Yeah. I'm not a huge, like I said, we're from Indiana, Jim and I. So, it's hometown people. It's just like Indiana football.
Yeah.
We like to follow Indiana football, but it was like, okay, well, we maybe need to have another team to fall back on. This past year, look what they did. So,
well, by the way, really interesting, and we're talking Indiana stuff here. I apologize if it's boring, but when I went to high school in Tennessee, I went to a private high school in Tennessee, and I grew to really love SEC football. This was back in the 1980s, and so I was kind of a dual Indiana Hoosiers, Tennessee Volunteers fan through that time. And then they fired Bill Mallory, who has been the most successful Indiana coach since the 50s and 60s. They fired him for no good reason at all. And I said, I'm done. Forget Indiana football. I've been a Vols fan ever since. That was 89. And of course, it paid off in 98 when we won the national championship. But look at this Vols team. But that is what's interesting. Indiana is not a football state. But the Colts are a great franchise, and it's been really good. But it's not a football state. It's a basketball state. It is the basketball state. And I really loved it when Rick Carlisle said at the presentation for the Eastern Conference Finals that he said there are 50 states where they play. There are 49 states where they play basketball. There's one state that is the home of basketball, and that is Indiana. Hands down. The 10 largest high school stadiums in the world are all in Indiana.
Yep, that's true. That's true. It's
Like
if
you look at the top 10 attended finals, we control the
seating
top
capacity. So Newcastle, Indiana has the highest seating capacity of any high school and it's nearly 10,000 seats. I think about that, a high school basketball stadium. So it is the home of basketball, without
absolutely
a doubt.
crazy.
You and I can talk about Indiana sports all day long.
I am bored to death right now.
No, if you talked about Ohio State, he'd be right on it.
Football, but it's the same
good thing that
Ohio
came out of
State's
Ohio
not
State was
basketball.
Bobby Knight, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. So you're welcome. Everything great comes from Ohio.
Jim, there's some peaceful protesting going on.
There is.
And
let's talk about this.
Right?
Yeah.
While you're talking about that, I got to look this up. I made a post on this. Pardon for this, but I said, I found a video that was a local TV station there, and the host described it as a large group of people. Be careful, don't go in with troops because there's a large group of people having fun watching cars burn.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, this is the new mostly peaceful protest, right?
This is it again.
It's literally a riot. This is so out of control, and it is not Donald Trump's fault. And it's not even ICE's fault. ICE is going in to do what their job is, which is to work on removing illegals and particularly criminal illegals out of the country. It is entirely on the books. United States Code, USC, and I can't remember which section off the top of my head, but it's there. That it is their authority to do that, and they are doing it. Tom Homan's doing a really good job. This is a highly, and we can talk about the details, but this is a highly organized protest.
It's a highly organized, paid
organic
protest.
And natural.
It's not organic at all, and we know
you
that.
Don't shut an interstate down. You don't. That's not a protest. That
correct.
But
it's not even that. It's just all of the. You could see the crowd, right? You know who's there. The protests against ICE have always been these, I don't know, white, old, liberal, has-been nobodies that just go out with their signs and they're protesting ICE and they're doing that. And then all of a sudden, you've got this whole basically Antifa crowd, in a way. I mean, that's what you have going on and causing the mayhem. And do you think, I got a question here because it's coming to me. Do you think that they are hoping personally, again, I'm not president of the United States, but personally, I think non-lethal actions is to just keep this thing going. I'm not saying you shoot and kill people, but I'm kind of saying that. Like, there's got to be some sort of, I am. I mean, there's got to be a way to control this. Rubber bullets or whatever. They're literally trying to take the lives of ICE and police officers, from sheriffs to local police departments to highway patrols. They're causing, it's attempted murder on their part. At that point, how do you stop this without some lethal force going on? And so I'm like, they're going to call me a dictator, they're going to call me whatever, but I got to get this crap under control, and I got to get it under control now, because it's going to spread across the nation.
Yeah, I agree. Well, first of all, the National Guard troops right now are guarding the ICE facility. So let's keep that in mind. They're not out in the streets trying to do police action. This is very similar, by the way, to what Donald Trump was doing in Minnesota in his first term. Right. And actually up in, I think in Washington State as well, he did a little bit of it, where he brought out the troops to protect federal facilities. And that's appropriate. That's what's taking place here. I don't know what they plan with the 500 Marines that were just announced would be coming into the area.
Should be 5,000, but go on.
The only way to deal with this situation is actually to go with the root causes. And the root causes are the organizations behind it.
Correct.
And so what you need to do is investigate potential criminal activity in every one of these organizations. In fact, let me pull this up. I should bring my mouse over here, but one of the groups involved here is the coalition, the so-called Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights in LA. Now, what you find, this is just one example of how you get to the root of the problem. That organization is one of the main organizers of this, and what they have, one of the things that gives them power is the money that they get. Two interesting sources of money. One is investor advised funds, basically.
Okay.
An investor advised fund is a fund that's put together. People put their money into it, and then the investment advisors decide where to put that money. Now, I don't know they can be dark and shady in terms of how they can be traced. And most of these kinds of funds are just actually investing in like businesses and stuff like that. But apparently some of these funds have gone into directing money into organizations like these. So these DAFs, as they're called, have given money to this CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights. But one other source, and their main source of income, is government money. This is on their 990. It's reported publicly.
Okay.
So in 2022, they received about $12 million from governments. That jumped in their 2023 fiscal year to over $33 million.
Jeez.
Now, here's what's interesting. $500,000 of that government money, now I'm going to blow you away here, you're just not even going to believe where it is from the Department of Homeland Security. During the Biden administration.
Really?
Now, everyone should go to the Data Republican X profile.
Yes.
This is where
phenomenal
I got the
X account, by the way.
She's fantastic. She does a lot of great research, saves me a lot of time, I have to tell you.
Correct. All of us.
But what's interesting is the other amount of that government money, which I'm still trying to track down and I haven't seen all the details on, but I do know a lot of this is coming from government entities in California and maybe the state of California. So did Department of Homeland Security and California and whatever government entities gave them this money? Are they trying to get to this particular result? Well, I'm not going to say that directly right now. What I am going to say is organizations that lead to this violence are being funded by Democrats. Both from a government perspective and from a private perspective. There's another person named Neville Singham. This guy is an avowed communist billionaire who made money off of some software entities, apparently with close connections to the Chinese Communist Party. And again, I don't know for sure that the Chinese Communist Party is directing this, but I do know a guy who works with them still in software arrangements is funding this and other organizations related to this. So
is this stuff they knew ahead of time though? And could you have... Is there a way to control? I mean, if you know that ahead of time, if you know who's controlling these things and who's kind of getting involved with it before something like this gets out of hand and it's being funded, you could kind of see. We had a previous, there's precedent for this because we've had previous history of these kind of actions going on back in Trump's first term. Is that, how do you control that? How do you take care of that then? And who investigates it? Pam Bondi? Because I'm a little, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if there's any criminal investigation to be had on these groups that tend to have a footprint around the country and sometimes in a state, but that's where the FBI comes in to investigate things but see, you have to have a criminal pretext. You have to be very careful. We do not want the FBI, either for our purposes or for the left's purposes, to constantly be going after every organization for every reason. What's really important here is when you get an outburst like this, which is, by the way, very, very severe. It's one thing to have the Palestinian protests, the peaceful, and some of them were peaceful, or peaceful in the sense of they were just marching on the street and screaming and yelling. Some of them were not that way. But every time it turns into this kind of violence, you have to aggressively begin investigating these organizations. That's when you go in and see the connections in the situation that just happened, and you go backwards to find out now if there is other things that they've been doing that have been criminal violations. So Pam Bondi and the FBI need to be going aggressively at every one of these organizations connected to this. and look at everything that's been happening, subpoenaing information, gathering up their internal records. We don't find out from the 990s, which is nonprofit organizations like mine. You file 990s with the IRS, and all the information's not public. But that's when you go into their actual books and get a subpoena and figure out where this money's been coming from and trace it down and find any criminal pretext or criminal actions and go down that trail and figure out what's going on. It takes time, but it should be done aggressively. You do this on the back end of crime, not on the front end. Unless you have evidence that you can go to a judge with to get subpoenas, to get more information, or search warrants to get more information. If you see a potential crime developing and you have a solid basis for that. This is what we call the rule of law, by the way. The rule of law doesn't just work when some prosecutor brings up a case. It ought to also work when you see criminal activity taking place and you aggressively go all the way down the path in the right way. The Trump administration needs to make that a top priority, because we have got to weed out where these problems are. I don't think we go past rubber bullets or normal processes. I mean, that's just not productive, and it really doesn't fix the problem. See, it's like the Kent State thing when back in the 1960s, you had these students killed, and listen, many of those students, maybe none of them, but at least a few of them maybe had violent and criminal intent in them, but they weren't expressing it at the time, and killing them didn't solve the problem. It made everything worse, and it gave people a reason to reject any government efforts to deal with those situations. We don't want that to happen at all. So you have to be patient enough to recognize that going out and just shooting people because you don't like what's happening isn't the fix. The fix is going to the root of the problem, which goes back into the Biden administration that was willing to fund, in part, the Biden administration was willing to fund organizations like this.
When we looked at, because we did a story just last week on the loans that the Department of Energy gave out to and these businesses or these entities didn't even have to have a business plan. They didn't have to have it. So is it possible that this organization that you're referencing, is it possible they got some of those tens of billions of dollars, some of the money in loans from that loan that the Biden administration did, what, 3-4 months before they left
76
office?
days, I think, before he left.
And
during the last 76 days.
See, so is this what we're starting to see now? Is this what we're going to expect to see coming to a major city near you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those particular monies, I don't know. But see, if the Department of Energy was doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and which we know about, throwing
Yes.
gold bars off the Titanic, as it was described,
Mm-hmm.
you can be guaranteed that other agencies were doing the same thing. And again, I don't know if any of that particular effort went into these organizations,
Mhm.
but don't be surprised if we were to find that out. More importantly is this: during the Biden administration,
Mm-hmm.
when Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas
Mhm.
were encouraging illegal immigration
Right.
to
Yes.
flood into the country, falsely accusing Border Patrol agents of whipping these people when they weren't
Yes.
doing anything of the sort. I mean, all that crap that you
Yeah.
saw, while all that was going on an immigration issue that has turned violent right now,
Mhm.
funding organizations that in the past, including this one and some others I'll mention in a bit, have literally called for revolution to destroy capitalism. Of course, we have some evidence that, we have actual evidence that the president of Mexico, Sheinbaum, has
Mhm.
been saying that there needs to be demonstrations in the street to retaliate
Yeah.
Yes.
against, for example, the money going into Mexico and Trump's, highly taxed it, that sort of thing. Well, all those things, while all that is going on,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the Department of Homeland Security, ostensibly an organization to deal with protecting the homeland, funding organizations that have ended up undertaking this violent behavior, the DHS and the Biden administration.
Yep.
That's a serious issue. And so that $500,000 I mentioned is the gold bars, basically, that I know of right now.
Mhm.
And I don't know that they were thrown just as the administration change was taking place, but I do know that the Biden administration was fomenting disruptions in this country,
Mhm.
calling out people like us who supported Donald Trump, who believe in the MAGA agenda, criminals who needed to be investigated, an FBI that had propagated a memo that came out of Richmond, Virginia, to say that traditional Catholics, particularly who follow the Latin Mass, ought to be investigated clandestinely. I mean, and go on, that we're jailing peaceful protesters to abortion clinics,
Correct.
just because they were there praying. I
Mhm.
mean, this is the kind of thing that was happening in the Biden administration, and this is the problem. There's a lot
Yes.
to it, but we need to call out the people who are doing this wrong. And in fact, I think that a lot of people are saying this is going to harm Donald Trump and it's going to harm Republicans in the 2026 election. I believe just the opposite. We saw in November that the American people totally support Donald Trump's immigration plans. And there's no doubt that this is a tenuous situation that people may not understand well. But if we get the information out on this to show who's actually doing this stuff, then I'm convinced the American people will reject Democrats wholesale in 2026 if this doesn't stop.
If it doesn't stop. Jim, play a
Go
couple of videos. I just want to see, I mean, just examples of what we're talking about here and why. And I know we've all seen them.
It's okay. Get it.
There he is.
Well, I want to. Okay, so let's do this one first. Let me. This I couldn't believe I was watching this. This is a guy who literally is throwing rocks as the police are driving by. ICE is driving by. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but Jim, give us your opinion here.
I mean, it's attempted murder.
No respect.
It's a combination of assault and potential assault, real assault and potential attempted murder. Maybe you might be able to come to that. But one way or the other, I posted this video on my X timeline. And my comment was, this is not a protest. This is criminal activity. Period. I mean, listen, if you, let's say that this was part of some organized group of protesters, and when they were wanting to get an authorization from the local community to say, we're going to do a protest here and get the permits, and you said, and by the way, we're going to throw rocks at cars too.
Yeah.
No sane municipality is going to approve such a thing. I mean, that's crazy. You would never do it under that. But also, it is actually criminal activity. Yeah. And it's not just criminal activity of violence towards someone in a car and putting them in harm's way. It's particularly against police officers. And when you're doing this sort of violence against police officers without provocation, or in the midst of them dealing with provocations that are taking place, there are even much more severe penalties. So that person there should be going to jail.
Should be going to jail.
Watch this. Remember when we were told by Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom that we've got this under control. We have this under control. I want to show this because I think it's important to show this incident. These are California state policemen underneath the overpass. They can't get out because people on either side are throwing fireworks, throwing rocks at them. They can't. Where's the LAPD? I thought they had it under control.
Yeah.
These are state policemen that can't get out.
This is violence. This is actually, let's just be honest about it. It's insurrection. It's certainly insurrectionist for the local police and for the state. But you can make an argument because now these protests are going to be in many cities. You can make an argument that this is an insurrection against the entire country. I mean, listen, on January 6th, there were really some stupid people, and some of them, I know Trump pardoned many of them, all of them, but there are some that probably should have gone to jail, and he pardoned them rightly because they've done jail time since. But that's a small group of people. The provocations on January 6th are not anywhere near this. You had protesters going over to the Capitol. They were screaming and yelling, but they were standing there peacefully. And before any provocations from the crowd took place, you had USCP lobbing tear gas into the crowd. Then it escalated from there. Then a lot of other things happened, which we can go through. But this is far different than that. This was not started as merely, hey, we're going to show you that we have concerns and we're going to stand outside and protest. They literally began assaulting an ICE detention facility. Violently. And it's escalated into what you just saw. And that's insurrectionist in my mind.
Well, and here's that video that I just showed you with them. Here is after the fact. And look at the police cars.
That's attempted murder.
Sorry. See all those? They're fired. Some of them are fireballs. And they're just throwing rocks. This is. Do you remember when we were raised? If we acted like that, we would never see the light of day, at least for a year. And the sad thing about it is most of the people doing this are in fact illegals. That are being pushed by the left, going out there, all these leftists going out there and telling them you got they're just putting you in the back of a van and taking you out. They're due process and everything, which illegals I don't think get due process, but maybe there is something out there. I don't know. But Jim, I'm getting tired of it because all the left has to do, and you see it on X all over the place. Oh, what about this? Why didn't you guys complain about this when they showed January 6th? Okay. Oh, this and that. And we, all of us, and you said it, and we've said it on this show, not everybody that was involved in January 6th were good people. Okay. You shouldn't have broken in. You shouldn't have done this. Never am I all for going after policemen. Okay. Never, ever. Law enforcement, their respect, they should be controlling it. So, but that's all they got. They can't show 4 months ago, conservative MAGA people were going down to Minneapolis and causing trouble. They can't show. All they can show is from 5 years ago. That's it.
Well, one day, a few hours. What we're seeing now has been repeated consistently, definitely since 2020, but even further back with the Ferguson riots back in the Obama administration. And it wasn't consistent after that, but it has been consistent since 2020. Listen, I am not a blanket respect cops because sometimes they do wrong, and I think they're worth criticism. That said, when they are in their normal duties, you should respect them. If you get stopped on a traffic stop, you should respect them. If they get out of hand, I think it's been helpful to have videos showing where policemen do get out of hand, because we do hold our government accountable, right?
Yes,
it's not a blanket carte blanche thing, but I think it's very clear that we should be highly respectful of police and so forth. But that said, everything that you were watching right there is all with murderous intent.
Yes,
but definitely with assault, and perpetrated by a large percentage of illegals who are in these crowds. And I want to say this, I'm going to be slightly pedantic on you, Jim, here from your description. They're not being pushed. They're part of the Democrat process. Let's just be very clear here. Democrats wanted this, amongst other things, when this wave of illegal aliens were allowed to come across the border. They called for it. They asked for it. And even those who might, of Democrat elected officials who might make the claim rationally that they didn't want this particular kind of violence, let's just be honest, they know that this is there. The precedent had already been there in 2020 and before, like that I just talked about. They aren't out speaking against it in any significant way right now.
Correct.
But here's the problem. This is what we've got moving forward. Democrats are not going to do what you have to do to recover from situations like this politically. They're not going to call it out and stand with Donald Trump to work against this. They're not going to do it. Why? And by the way, many of them know they should. I guarantee you many of them know they should.
Sure.
The only path through this for Democrats is to work with Donald Trump to clean this up, take the hit in 2026, and then try to resurrect their party into something more rational, like it used to be. I mean, I've never been for Democrats,
I know.
But the reality is that this is not JFK's party.
Correct.
As bad in some areas as JFK could have been, he still was an American patriot. He believed in the country, believed in protecting the country. And I just highly disagreed with a lot of his policies. But he still was. They still were Americans trying to do what they thought was in America's interest. And then you have the debate and go on. That's not today's Democrat Party. This exemplifies today's Democrat Party. This is what they are about. This is the logical conclusion of everything Democrats have been doing over the last 10 to 15 years. And I'll close on this little rant with this. This is the outgrowth of what the Obama administration began. Remember when Barack Obama said, hey, I'm a community organizer. We need to be bringing community organizing into what we're doing in our politics. What you're observing in LA is community organizing.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly right, Jim. This just, I get to this point though, that I can't believe what I'm watching to an extent, and also into the other aspect of that, I guess, is that I can't believe that the Democrats wouldn't condone this. And I say that for this reason, for the same reason you say it, basically, is that they're always on the 20% of the issue stuff, right? They're always on that side. It almost doesn't even matter, it seems, whether they condone it or not, because there's never any real ramifications for anything they do. So does it matter to them politically? Is it even matter right now that the Democrats aren't in charge? Because are they or aren't they? And I say that for a couple reasons. One, because they're getting away with all of this. And two, because we have a GOP that doesn't seem to have the testicular fortitude to do anything about it. So does it matter to Democrats whether they condone it or not, or they just want to see total chaos and they're okay with this because somebody's in control, somebody's doing all this, and they just continuously get away with this crap all the time. So it makes me think, the deep state crap and the conspiracy and all the stuff we talk about. Does it matter who's in power? Because this is going to happen regardless. They're either going to let illegals in peacefully, whatever they're going to do to destroy our country, or they're going to destroy it this way if there's a Republican in charge. So it just makes me wonder, how does it ever stop?
Well, these particular types of incidents are why you do want a Republican in charge, and Donald Trump's that guy. The Congress can't do a whole lot about this, honestly. I've got other problems with Congress, and that it related to spending and some other things. And this ought to firm them up to say, listen, we're going to go all the way with the bill.
Agreed.
Because my disagreements with it, I think should
we
be
have
resolved.
disagreements with the bill too. But
Right.
And what the House Freedom Caucus is trying to do is the effort we need to undertake. What Senators Johnson and Paul and Scott and Lee are trying to do over in the Senate. Okay, but that's a separate issue than this. It is good we have a Republican in the White House right now and an administration that seems to be doing very effective work to deal with these sorts of situations. That's where the elections will matter. And then hopefully the problem with the Republican Congress is, how are they going to do the election in 2026? How are they going to bring this in as a serious, important issue to that end? Because it was Democrat policy through, for example, the so-called Inflation Reduction Act and various Biden administration policies that have been funding and encouraging the groups that bring about these sorts of actions. And the only reason they're acting out now is because Donald Trump's in power. They had no reason to do it when their guy was in power for 4 years. So that's where we address it. And these things, one thing that I always repeat over and over again is 6,000 years of recorded human history proves the moral depravity of man, right? I mean, you cannot escape the fact that men and women in recent centuries in power cause harm. They break rules. They act immorally. Corruption seeps in, and they use their positions of power against their opponents in politics. The unique aspect of the American experiment and all of the philosophical and frankly moral and religious underpinnings in the Judeo-Christian ethic that underpin it is an anomaly in human history. It's not normal. It's an anomaly. And we're in the midst of undertaking an effort to reassert that foundation back into American culture. And it's going to be a challenge. I think we've made some strides after November, and Trump is doing a really good job addressing many of the issues that are of concern. But we have a lot more to do from here. And this situation needs to be dealt with aggressively enough that we tamp down the rioting. But if the Trump administration does not get fully on board to deep investigations into these organizations and the people behind it, just a handful of which I've mentioned on this program, if they don't find the criminal activity and prosecute on it, and if they don't undertake in a broader sense the criminality within the Biden administration and other areas, if they don't aggressively go after that now, then we're just going to get right back to where we were beforehand. And we won't be able to reestablish that foundation, which we so desperately need to do.
My take on it is the three things that the Republicans have to do between now and midterms, okay, to make sure they guarantee they're going to be in. And the first thing is to get this bill passed. All right, because we know there's good things in it. I know there's not going to be great things in
I can
every
name
bill.
50 good things.
There's that's going to be done. The second thing is the SAVE Act, making sure only legals vote in our federal election. And then the third one are the tariffs. Once these three things get done, and I do believe they will be done by the end of this year, one way or the other, then I think the economy is going to start picking up. And there's no shot the Democrats have. They can start doing this. They can start complaining about this. But when the American people right now are already speaking out, that look at the spending going on. It's not, all the Democrats coming out and saying, "Oh my God, we're starting a recession. We're getting in recession." American people don't seem to be feeling that.
Correct.
So, do you agree with that, Jim, or is there something else we got to watch for? Is there something else?
The Feds have to lower interest rates and do their job. But the Fed has to do that. But go on.
I agree generally exactly with what you're saying. The one thing that I think people need in perspective on this reconciliation bill and what's to come after that. First of all, the fantastic thing about the bill, although we are so far from reforming our tax code, I mean, we really have a lot of work to do there. The one thing that happened in this bill that to me is amazing, having spent 8 years on the Hill and observing this for a long time, is that the tax cuts in the bill are made permanent. The only way to change them is to have an actual vote to raise taxes. So if a Democrat Congress comes in and wants to raise taxes, they've got to go through cloture to get there. Right.
And then you know,
and or even if they can weave it into a reconciliation process, then they're actually going to have to vote for a tax increase, right? And then get a president to sign it.
Correct.
That's a fantastic aspect of this bill. Just keep in mind the impending end of the Trump tax cuts is because when they were passed, there was a date certain when they would go away and revert back to the previous system.
Exactly.
That happened with the Bush tax cuts that took place in 2002, 2003. And I was working on Capitol Hill, and we had that big fight. And Republicans were going to, under John Boehner, were just going to throw in the towel on it, which they did ultimately do. And then the taxes went back up, and then we were in a higher tax rate. Even the Trump tax cuts didn't get all the way down to what they were prior, down to the Bush tax cuts. So that is a real awesome thing. Okay. And then we can start from there to reform the system. But the bad thing about it is there are bigger areas that could have been cut in this bill. And I'm all for the fight that is taking place to try to get more of that.
Agreed.
But get the bill passed so we can afterwards, whatever, so we can get the tax cuts permanent.
Correct.
And then if Donald Trump does not come out with about $800 billion to $1 trillion of rescissions. Remember, there's only one rescission package in Congress right now. That's the one that Russ Vought sent over last Monday. That is only $9 billion.
Correct.
And they plan to send a lot more. But if that doesn't add up to about $800 billion to about $1 trillion in rescissions. And if Republicans don't move those bills through, listen, Don Bacon of Nebraska is opposing $9 billion of cuts. Right. I mean, don't even call yourself a Republican if you're not.
Bacon is not.
Not. There's nothing conservative or Republican about that. It's he's an absurd man who's making stupid arguments. If that attitude propagates, and if Donald Trump doesn't actually send over a bunch of rescissions, then all's lost in 2026, even with all the advantages politically that Republicans have, because Democrats are screwed up.
So let me ask you,
made their boat. They need to have their bed. They have to.
I'm glad you brought those rescissions up. I'm glad you.
Let me ask you a question. Real quick then, Jim. So is those that are opposed to it in the Senate and the House? Are you saying then just get over the ego or the part of it all that I'm here, my people don't want this. We want more cuts, more cuts, more cuts. I am of the belief that just like, I get that. We all want that. Pass the damn bill. And then let's start getting the cuts that are going to be brought up, like the Doge cuts, like all of that. Are you of the mindset then, the Rand Pauls, that the people that are just opposed to this thing, to go ahead and vote for this bill, get it passed, and then move forward from there? Because we have limited time to do this, and they don't seem to be working very hard to do this. So
well, them working listen, this is not time-consuming thing. So when they're not working, that's bad. But the problem isn't whether they work it; it's whether it's the will. I'm not a fan of the bill as it sits right now.
Agreed.
No,
I think a lot of people aren't.
And I'm not going to tell any of those guys that they've got to vote for it. I'm telling them to fight, because there are more cuts that could be in there. There are more significant and proper reforms to Medicaid, for example. I mean, it went really far. Chip Roy and Andy Harris did a fantastic job in the House of not only getting those reforms more fine-tuned in the right direction, but by changing the implementation date from 2029 to 2026. That's going to be one of the biggest bones of contention for Republicans in the Senate, if you can freaking believe it.
I know,
they
hard
want
to believe.
Remove that. Well, those are the people that are going to kill the bill. Rand Paul and Ron Johnson, Rick Scott and Mike Lee are not going to kill that bill. It's going to be Josh Hawley and Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins and a few others that have said negative things about the Medicaid reforms.
Yeah.
There's just no place in this world where you wouldn't make those Medicaid reforms.
Correct.
Because it's gone up 50% almost entirely due to illegals using the system. And that's a no-brainer. If
So
you're
why
like
are they
that,
fighting
you're
that, though?
killing a bill unnecessarily.
Why do they fight that though? What is their reasoning behind it?
Because of one of the biggest misunderstandings, misunderstandings in my mind, that elected congressmen have. And that is they need to meet the needs primarily of their parochial interests.
Yes.
The only reason to meet the needs of your parochial interests, those in your district, is when you're giving them money.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And if you are giving them money, that's to buy votes.
Yes.
And that is not what our funding structure was ever designed to do, according to Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. So, but to the contrary, in this particular political environment, we just went through an election where you had a presidential candidate, Donald Trump, calling for massive cuts in government and getting and also the immigration thing. And because of those two issues, strongly as part of the mix, got elected with a large majority nationally and with an electoral mandate. That's what you work off of. That's what the people in your district are concerned with. And that is your present parochial interest, because that's the political driving force in this right now.
You would think so. Correct. That's not untrue. We got about 5 to 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get some more into this, because I do want to go into the whole Congress and primaries and what's going to happen and what we're looking forward to in 2026. We've got some comments. I don't know, Jim might have comments to read. I don't know, but if not, it's okay.
I have a lot of comments to read.
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead. I mean, if you got some things you want people to, like, we can address them or at least hear what they're thinking out there. Sorry, we have to do this a different way because
it's I think I know what happened, but
I do too.
To theirs. We have basically Leslie made the comment that I completely agree with. She made this a while back, Miss Leslie, that I'm at this point now, Jim and Dale. I don't. She mentions that who gives a crap about California anymore? They're a dumpster fire. They've caused what they've caused. Just let it go. I'm at that point where I think that is what needs to happen. They talk about the funding. If they can all, if they all start with funding, then Congress can and should do something. Minnie Ball said the Biden administration is sitting back and saying, "Yay, it's working," which that is a very good point, because this is part of what has happened. Mick Zachak, I think Zach Jack. Why can't we get some protests like they do in France, where all the women are naked? I saw some of the women.
Have you seen the women?
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Nope.
Aiken, it's Minnie Ball wants to know if you have a stream.
Yeah,
Jim. So we'll get into that at the end of the show, where you can tell us that. And then Miss Leslie again, follow the money. How much money are they getting kickbacks from in NGOs supporting all this shit? And then Grit Gear. If you are here illegally, you don't get government assistance. It's so simple. It's crazy.
Yep.
So,
yep. I mean, they all good
great
points.
comments.
Thank you for reading them and commenting as people. We also had some here that I can't see where it says the GOP, it's going to be a bloodbath for them in 2026 in his opinion, who's commenting here. I mean, you don't feel that way at all, right? I mean, you honestly not at present. So even at present, you feel pretty confident about this.
Well, I mean, right now, listen, what's going on in LA right now, I'm very confident. And we'll see some actual polling coming out soon to verify it, validate it. But I'm convinced that the American people are saying we don't want Democrats back in power.
Yeah, they're not gaining any popularity as the days go on, and the more they fight, and the activist judges, and this whole immigration policy, and the big beautiful bill, the Democrats are not gaining any ground whatsoever. So my concern is not whether Democrats are in a bad political place. They're in a horrible political place. And by the way, I saw a comment on social media recently saying, and I think it was from a Democrat
type person saying, there's so much infighting in the Democrat Party. We just need to stop that and start focusing on Trump. And I'm sitting there saying, well, no, one, there's unanimity in the party. They all agree with all this. And two, they are fighting Trump.
Yeah.
It's not working.
It's not
working.
But my concern is this. Historically, Republicans are fantastic at grabbing defeat out of the jaws of victory.
I know they are.
They're really, really good at that. They
that.
have perfected this science. Part of the reason they've perfected it is because here in the Washington, D.C. area, you've got a consultant problem with Republicans. Remember, the consultants that make the most money, and there are many that make good money. And if you're putting effort into running a campaign, you ought to get paid for it. I get that, but that's not the problem. The consultants that make the most money are the media buyers and producers. The people that place campaign commercials get anywhere between a 10 and 20% cut off of that. And in I don't know what the actual average congressional campaign spending is right now, but it's somewhere in the millions.
Yeah.
Many of them are multiple millions of dollars, and most of that money goes to buying ads.
Wow.
So these guys are going to make money win or lose.
Yes, correct.
That's part of the problem. But the other part of the problem, and I think actually is the origin of all their problems, is that Republicans are really afraid that Democrats getting mad at them. It's a cowardice.
Isn't that something
that exists in so many Republican members of Congress? They don't want to be spoken ill of. They don't want folks to not like them for any reason. And they determine the like and dislike based upon what people tell them here in this bubble around Washington, D.C. I've lived it. I've watched it.
True.
I've been, and I've worked with two of the guys amongst many who don't subscribe to that. And I've seen what they've gone through and experienced it with them. And I can tell you that they get elected. They get reelected. Like take Thomas Massey, for example. Thomas is going to get reelected again. Like you're not going to take the guy down. What we need, and you can have your arguments with Thomas Massey. And I know there's some people listening. And by the way, for those who don't know, I was his chief of staff for a couple of years. There are people here that are probably mad at him for whatever reason. And maybe you're right on a couple of them and maybe wrong. But the point is this, that Thomas Massey, Chip Roy, Andy Harris, I can name a few others of these people. Tim Burchett, they're going to get reelected. And they do the right thing. We need a whole bunch of those kind of people.
I do agree with that.
Some of them are in more tenuous situations. Actually, Chip Roy, he'll have a challenging race here and there. Scott Perry, another hero, former House Freedom Caucus chairman. He actually is in a district that can be challenging, which just proves how wonderful his commitment to principle is.
Correct.
But you need a bunch of those kind of people. Most of the Republican conference will listen to and lean toward a Don Bacon, who absolutely is worthless in every single way. Entirely worthless.
Don't even get it.
We have to. The one thing that we've got to do is the Republicans. There's, we can't get everything right, and because that's what really frustrates me when I'm watching X. Because Dale always gets mad when I say this. So we hate them now. We liked them 2 weeks ago. We hate them now. Because I just think it's funny when you watch. Oh my God, it was great that Cash and Dan were. Oh my God, we're going to really get. Well, now we hate them. So it's like we eat each other for some reason. We do. And so if they could just realize, okay, I'm not getting this, but overall, this is a good bill. Okay. So if they would just do that and just understand that the Democrats are sitting back, you're not getting one of them. You are not getting
You're not going to get a
Democrat.
It doesn't matter.
Sign that thing. So you're going to sit there and look like a total idiot. So I agree your point. I just wish they would just come together and say, look, guys, not everything you're going to get is in there. Not every candidate is going to do what I want them to do. Okay. There are things. I am big supporter of President Trump. There's some things that he does and says that I don't support.
Well, I will tell you, we were in the Boehner and Ryan years, in both of their speakerships. I was working on the Hill. We were in a situation where those two men, particularly Paul Ryan, were unwilling to do anything to break this uniparty system that we've been fighting against. Even though I have serious problems with Mike Johnson's
Yes.
speakership. He's doing a little bit better with it right now. It's marginally better. But what every one of us have been dealing with that worked in that environment, both members of Congress and people like me that played a significant role in a congressional office, the biggest frustration that we've had is that these people will not move. They're intransigent, and they tell us to just give in and vote for the bill.
I know.
And then get mad because you want everything. Listen, the House Freedom Caucus members, evidenced by the vote that happened when it went over to the Senate, and even ultimately most of the guys that are opposing this in the Senate, they don't want everything. They want something. And there's not much of a something, and a tax cut is not a something. Like,
not
that's important, and we need to get rid of all of our taxes. Like even Rand Paul said, he said, "Listen, I'm all for the tax policy. I'm 100% for it. I'm having a problem with spending. So yeah, give us the taxes, but get the freaking spending taken care of." So you want that fight, right? The problem that we're having, the reason these bills don't go where they should be, is not because of House Freedom Caucus members. It's not even because of Rand Paul. It's because, sadly, I have to say, it's because of the Josh Hawleys of the world that are going to potentially oppose this because of the Medicaid reforms that have to happen. And it keeps us from getting other cuts that we really need. So
correct.
Do we want to support the bill ultimately? I mean, ultimately, it's going to pass.
Agreed.
At the end of the day, though, we need to understand where our real battle is. It's with the people that aren't always so vocal, who are working behind the scenes to take away more of your and my money. And that's
interesting.
our problem.
Interesting.
Well,
interesting.
So the
take
people
on that,
real quick, the people on welfare, because that's part of what we hear about. They're just getting people off of it that are capable of working on Medicaid. Okay, Medicaid and Medicare. I didn't realize if you're on welfare, do you get Medicare?
And Medicare is a different program.
Yeah,
totally
but isn't
Medicaid?
this what,
Medicaid is not always available to those that are on welfare,
Right.
but in many cases it is.
But isn't that what
it's a double up,
Obamacare was
of course.
supposed to take care of?
Listen, there's no authorization for any welfare in the Constitution. Just FYI.
Correct.
No, that as our base
Jim,
point here as we're talking about all this. What
Correct.
we're trying to do is reform programs that are not constitutional to begin with. I mean, and listen, I'm not trying to take everybody's Social Security away from them immediately, but let's just be honest. Social Security is not authorized by the Constitution. That was the whole battle that FDR was having when he wanted to stack the court, when he threatened to stack the court. Because he wanted Social Security and all of his welfare programs to go through, because he wanted to use the money of the American people to get to the folks that were being harmed by the Great Depression that was caused by government. That's what happened there. So let's just be careful about recognizing what we're doing. Now, if we're going to have these programs, they do need to be reformed. And Medicaid is abused. We know that California is abusing it and even using it to launder money into their own system that they're giving to illegals. There's a lot of corruption and abuse taking place in that system, and it has to be reformed. But yes, welfare recipients often do get Medicaid as well.
See, that drives me nuts. Because Dale and I will come. My biggest thing is, and now we're finally hearing it, but my biggest thing is welfare and permanent disability. I'm seeing people that are on permanent disability that are perfectly fine. They can work. Why are you not working? And then welfare drives me nuts. So
one of the most abused insurance programs anyway. I used to, for a short time, early in my working career, I was selling insurance, and I did group benefits as well as property and casualty insurance. One of the things that I saw that you learned, I should say, when I was selling group policies to businesses, this is way back in the 1990s, is that disability is frankly the most abused insurance product in the world. Hands down. Everyone on disability is trying to stay on it and prove that it's really a moral hazard, just the whole existence of it seems, because everyone wants to prove that they can stay on it rather than finding a way to get
You're
off.
not wrong. You're not wrong. That's a good point. Jim, we got to wrap this up. Tell us, Jim, not smart Jim, as said earlier, from a comment from a listener that, is there somewhere where you stream, or how do they get a hold of you? How can they watch you? I've seen follow you on X for one.
We follow you on X.
So please go follow them on X. But other than that, how do they watch you and get a hold of you or can help at least in this cause?
Well, the primary place to go is to our website, theconservativecaucus.org. That's
correct.
The word THE, conservativecaucus.org. And sign up there. You can get on our email list. If you want to help us financially, there's a donate button there. That's the first place to go.
Yep.
If you'd like to see where we are putting out our content, we're doing it through on X at my handle, which is at Jim Pfaff, and anyone that can see my name printed there, it's just those letters.
I've been saying it wrong. I've been saying Pfaff this whole time.
I don't hold that against. I have no reasonable expectation that anyone is going to pronounce my name correctly. As a friend told me one time, why don't you buy a vowel? Right. So, but the other place is at TC Caucus on X.
All right.
So the Conservative Caucus, TC Caucus on X.
Yeah.
And then
Miss Leslie's posting those on there, but again, I can't.
Right.
We can't see them. We can't.
And then also we've got a YouTube channel. We've got a Rumble channel. We're putting out video content there when I do interviews or other things. And we have a podcast that we put up there as well too.
Awesome. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jim Pfaff. Right?
Yeah. Whatever
I thought my Jim would correct
whatever
me,
you say. I'm just going with it.
I know you are. It's always like every time I learn so much, and I always do feel better speaking to you because I always get to that brink where I'm like, and Jim and I, we're jumping off the ledge here because I'm so aggravated at not just Democrats, but Republicans and all these things. And then you seem to talk us down a little, which I appreciate.
A little bit.
So, and my family appreciates the fact you talk me down. I don't have to run around the house like a lunatic yelling.
I'm starting to lose hope, and I can't do that. I got to.
We can't do that.
My goal is to give people perspective on what's really going on.
Yeah.
See, it's better information that gives you the right. That reveals the right strategies for getting out of a situation. One of the biggest problems we have in politics is people have a lot of bad information on both sides, right? This was the origin of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, by the way, most of which have been proven.
Yes, I agree.
There still is that conspiratorial mindset that just sees something bad behind every rock.
Yep.
And that can get out of hand too. The best way to deal with that is good information, and that's what I try to give people.
And so the last thing before we go, what I think I've learned to both of you today is do not use live rounds on the riots.
Please.
That's okay.
I'm not there. I'm not there.
That's
again, because the root of the problem is long before the riots ever happened.
I get that. That's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
If there's any destruction to take place, it's there.
I agree.
Okay.
Jim, our Jim, any last words there?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope you will come back. We want you back. There's always do.
Because there's going to be something.
There's always going to be something. So the invite's always open. And of course, we know
and we love having you. It's fantastic.
And we love having you on. Yeah, we do. Even though you talk a little bit too much about Indiana basketball. But other than that, that's that guy likes
who doesn't? What are you talking
about?
Who doesn't?
I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't see the problem.
Normal people don't. Anyways, no, really, Jim, thank you so much again for your insights, for your expertise. Really, it's an honor. We love having you here, and we look forward to when you come back.
Dale, Jim, always a pleasure.
Man,
thank you.
Thank you.
Great time. Thank you.
God
Talk
bless.
soon. See you on X. Jim, awesome. We love having him on. Honestly, it's so smart.
Makes us look smart. He makes us look smart, which is really hard to do.
It is hard to make us look smart.
And folks, again, you
talent
guys, great comments out there. Again,
Yes.
as usual, our Coup crew is just, your comments are phenomenal. I think I know what happened.
I do
So
too.
we'll fix it for the next show.
We'll fix it for the next show.
And we'll get it out. I've been watching the comments, and it's pretty cool. And
Troll,
again,
we've seen all your comments.
and
So
Tarna, I'm going to tell you,
you're good, brother.
While real people with real disabilities are denied, and that
that's the truth too when it comes to
that is what bothers me about all this. I know
That's true.
people that are getting declined, and then I see
Agreed.
people that are perfectly capable
good
of
call.
working.
Mhm.
They don't do it, and it's frustrating at all. But I am a big negative person when it comes to welfare and permanent disability.
I agree with you.
Completely. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But we need to get going because
we got to hear from Grit Gear and Lock and Load real quick.
We have a time crunch.
Yeah, we do. So we got to hear from Grit Gear and Lock and Load. first, because we wanted to bring Jim on after our 14-minute opening, which is fine. It's going to happen every show. I don't care what anybody says. So let's hear from them real quick, and we'll be right back.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
If you're new to the show and you're just joining us here at our very first
Where have you been?
episode, where have you been? On Furycast Network. If you're new here, remember, go support Grit Gear and Lock and Load. So it's gritgearapparel.com, which Leslie's probably putting up there, and lockandloadcoffee.com.
And she also has a comment that I'll put out here.
Okay. All right. So please go support them, and please use coupon code 2GUYS, number 2 guys, GUYS, and you get 10% off your order every time. This is a small family-owned company, veteran supported, American company, doing great work, helping that small community, helping them out. They're absolutely true patriots. And literally we just wouldn't say it. Look at this is some of the gear you get. So we're wearing it. Jim, I said before the show, you look absolutely stunning in that t-shirt. And there was
the Pledge of Allegiance is on the shirt. So.
Hard to say, but easy to wear, right? So
it's guys, and I'm telling you, there is no other coffee I drink. I drink
Lock
it
and Load coffee.
Nothing.
Everybody who's tried it has loved it.
It's fantastic. So
it is. So you said Leslie's got a comment, and we got to get to our
top she goes, quick. You better fix it or I will.
Oh, and I believe that.
Yeah, because again, it's always fun. And we gotta thank you, Crash. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll get done here.
He's got to get
you.
ready for his.
Yeah, we got
Kitty show.
Yeah, we got to.
We
have a different situation here.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna go
through
my top 5.
Yep.
Do you need it? You want to play the
what? Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll get better because we got to get used to this. We only have an hour and 30 minutes. That's it.
We do. And Lord knows we can talk and bullcrap for the whole time. So top 5 sports movies.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, my number 5.
Early. I love it.
Guys,
it was going to make my list.
Nights.
I love it.
I love Talladega Nights, and if you don't like Talladega Nights, it's because you don't like Will Ferrell. But the movie, if
you don't like it, I'm going to scissor kick.
Yeah, the movie itself is fantastic.
It's
phenomenal. You laugh. My sayings come from there. So, number 4, Hoosiers.
I can't believe it was only 4. I am shocked, to be honest with you,
because the other ones are very good. But Hoosiers, not
Great
that I'm
movie.
a Hoosier fan. Okay, take all that away, but this is high school basketball. This is the story of high school basketball in Indiana. The underdog beats the big guy. So
it's great.
Fantastic.
Our rest in peace, Jim Hackman.
This one's probably going to be surprising, but Friday Night Lights was a guy who went in, watched football and high school football in Texas.
Yep. And
we thought Indiana big in basketball.
No.
Got nothing
Texas
on
high
them.
School football
and this is the one question that asked to this guy. What did you exaggerate? And he said nothing.
Yeah.
The fans are this rabid. The people are this crazy. Guys, it's a great movie. Great story. Number 2. If this is not on everybody's list.
If this isn't on everybody's list, you are un-American.
Yes. Miracle. And it almost was number 1. It was almost my number 1.
Because I understand.
This movie is great. If you were alive during the 80s.
Oh my God. I didn't even watch it because I was listening on the radio. Not that where there was TV back then, people. I'm just saying
greatest moment ever.
Yeah.
But it was Great.
Great.
And then my number one, of course, is Field of Dreams.
Jim,
I mean,
it's
it's
going to be a very
baseball game.
similar list, I
So,
believe, my
yeah.
friend.
Okay. So
Very,
I'll
very
remove
similar.
that. Do you want me to read others?
Yeah, just
or do
read
you
it.
wanna
Yeah,
do your-
read some
Okay.
if you got them.
So Aiken has one.
Mhm.
Any Given Sunday. Good
Yep.
movie.
Great movie.
Miracle.
You great.
Slapshot. Great.
Great movie.
Hoosiers.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Caddyshack.
Okay, great.
Miss Leslie. A
Mhm.
League of Their Own. Very good. Slapshot.
Yes.
Rocky.
Yes, great.
Miracle.
Yep.
Miracle showing up.
Mhm.
Major League. which is
Major
very
League
good.
was great.
Mini Ball. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Seabiscuit.
Ah,
Number 5. That was a good movie, actually. 4 Slapshot.
yep.
342.
I know.
Almost made my list.
Yeah, I know.
And it probably should have.
Mhm.
But it was great. And I'm number
What?
2 Radio.
Oh,
And number
okay.
1, I
Good
can't
movie.
believe this. I forgot all about this movie, Mini Ball. Thank you very much. Brian's Song.
Oh, such a good
If
movie.
you can watch that movie and not
So-
cry,
Yep,
you have
I
no
don't care
soul.
who you are. Such a good movie. Yeah.
and Tarna,
Yep.
much as I hate the pig O'Donnell and that
Mhm.
hoe Madonna,
I know. That was a good movie.
League of Their Own. Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are great top 5s, guys. Oh my God, Brian's Song.
Yep. I got to get to mine.
Yep.
Hurry up. Top 5. It won't take long because it's going to be very similar. So top 5 sports movies on mine, but in the ranking order I like them. Number 5, Caddyshack. Is an annual tradition to watch
Yeah.
Caddyshack at the beginning of the
Awesome.
golf season. You have to watch it. It's just
Mhm.
amazing. Number 4, Rocky.
Good
So
one.
that's so Leslie, good choice as
Mhm.
usual. Thanks for getting together with me so we can create our list. And number 3, Miracle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Number 2, Hoosiers.
Weird. Wow.
Can you believe that? I got it at
Two.
number 2.
Wow.
You know what the number 1 is.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
That's my number 1. It's
If you're a
just-
baseball guy like we are,
Yeah,
that's
Field of
it's,
Dreams.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, and
uh,
by the way,
yeah.
I'm hoping we can try it sometime. But my brother actually has a bourbon, Field of Dreams bourbon,
Really?
made from the corn at the Field of Dreams.
There's a time coming up here shortly where we
Yep.
can try it.
Yeah, but we can't try it at the reception
Ah, okay. Okay.
unless you want to get me kicked out.
I
mean,
know. I know. I'll remove that now. Jim, you can put us back to 2 people because you're an expert at this now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Guys, you can't miss any of these. I mean, the sports movies, that is who we are. That is what we do.
Mhm.
It's I mean,
Yeah.
you could have any sports movie up there. We're missing a bunch of them. I get
Yeah.
it, but
I know that. But there were so many.
Grit Gear.
Yeah.
Trouble with the Curve. Okay.
Good movie.
For the Love of the Game. Very
Good
good movie.
movie.
Caddyshack.
Yep.
Rocky and
Yep.
Field of Dreams.
Yep. I mean, there's so many good ones. What was that stupid movie? Why can't I think of it now? Robert Redford, baseball.
The
Why
Natural.
couldn't I hated that movie.
The Natural.
I absolutely
it
hated
was-
that movie.
Yeah. One, because when we were that age, wouldn't we have loved to
Yeah.
play?
Yeah.
Our dream. Larry did comment. He did say Field of Dreams, mic drop, which is true. I mean, you can't.
Which is true.
Yep.
Yep. Field of Dreams.
So, but what I was going to say about early at the beginning of this thing,
Mhm.
Miss Leslie.
Yeah.
I had
Doesn't
wanted
go by
to
Buckeye
do-
anymore. Is that what
Well,
we?
it's on Rumble. It's Miss Leslie is what's
I know.
posting up. But I wanted to do top 5 sports movies.
Yeah.
But Dale told me no, because we've already done it.
No.
When before we came to the network, when we did it on our own, when we weren't even going live, he wouldn't let. But Miss Leslie brings it up. Oh my God, that's a great idea. I saw the comments go back. So it's
What's
like,
the next
here we
top
go.
5? Is she ready for that?
Yeah, she
What is
posted it
Wednesday?
on there.
I
you
can't
and-
see that, Jim.
No, but you and her came up with it.
Oh, for the next one. That's
Hold,
right.
Please. If
Yeah.
you wanted to
might
do
even
it for this
comment.
week,
She
you
might. She
wanted
might
to do
even.
it this week, but she
Yep.
said,
That's right.
"But this is professional, isn't it?"
You could probably just tell us right now on the comments what she said.
Let's see.
Okay, we're wasting time here. We'll have.
We're
to close
wasting
it
a lot of time. Oh, here we go. Top 5 musicians who died too soon.
Yes, that's right. Correct. You
Yeah.
were not wrong. So that's
Top
Wednesday.
5 musicians
Yep.
that died too soon. And
Yep.
by the way,
Yep.
you'll need to announce Wednesday.
Yep.
I'll let you do it.
Yep. I will not be here Wednesday. Rich will be sitting in the seat, taking the helm, as a matter of fact, to celebrate our arrival on the Furycast Network. I will not be here the next 3 shows. But we started earlier than planned. So here we are. Yes, Rich will be filling in for me. I have some commitments. One of them involves Jimmy himself and his family. And then I have some family commitments to take care of up in Ohio.
We'll get into that on Wednesday.
Yeah. What's that?
I'll get into that more.
Yeah, you'll get in on that Wednesday, but I will not be here. And of course, I will not be here next week as well. I will be back. Yeah, I will be back on, when will it be then? The 23rd?
Yeah.
Is that no, not 23rd. What's June's? What's the first?
No, it is.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's 23rd.
It's 23rd of June. That's when I come
'cause that's
back.
2
Holy
weeks from
smokes.
today.
2 weeks from
Yeah.
today is when you will see Dale next. Please don't, cry. Don't get too saddened. I will be all over X, so you'll still get to see me on there. But
Yeah,
I know you're all going to be sad. I won't be.
Folks, Rich, I'll reach out to you because we were going to have next Monday, weren't going to be able to have a show, but something happened, so we will be able to do the show.
Oh, good.
So, so Rich and I the next 3 weeks. So
not 3 weeks, 3 episodes, Jim. You lied to people.
3 weeks.
No, 2 weeks. Week and a
3
half.
episodes. Sorry.
3
Yeah,
episodes.
3.
We will be back here. Well, Jim will be here with Rich on Wednesday at 10:30 live. Am I frozen,
Dale,
Jim?
your stuff went happy.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Anyway.
I mean, it's been perfect all show,
All
right?
right, guys. Furycast, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for
love
joining in, everybody. A little bit of a cluster, but I did not. I think better than we thought for our first one. So we thank everybody who followed us, who joined, who shared it, who did that. Please go like and share. Go to Furycast on Rumble. That's where you can see us and follow us now. Furycast Media on X. Follow us at 2 Guys, 1 Coup on X. Stay tuned after the show. We've got X Talk Live with Crash and Kitty. Of course, you've got Crash at Night tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. And soon on the network, Watchful Warrior. Stay tuned for that podcast as well. It's going to be amazing. Jim, I'm frozen up again, didn't I?
You're good now. You're good.
I'm good now. I said a lot of good stuff about Furycast and who's coming up, but stay tuned for the outro. It's a new outro, folks. Ball and song. Jim, anything else to say before we go?
Nope.
Okay. X Talk Live next. Stay tuned for that.
God bless everybody.
I'll see
Thank
you in 2
for
weeks.
joining.
Jim and Rich will see you Wednesday. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay. Bye.
Talk soon, brother. Bye.
Final bell, but the war rolls on. Truth was spoken, the mask is gone. 2 guys, 1 coup, the mission is clear. Breaking the silence, year after year. With steel and soul, we took a stand. Furycast power across the land. 2G1C, the fire won't fade. We're forged in truth and never afraid. Thank you for watching, for taking the ride. You stood with us on the freedom side. Through lies and fear, we lit the spark. Now we leave our mark in the dark. We'll be back with thunder and flame. No sellouts here, we play no game. Truth still lives, it lives in you. Carry the torch for 2G1C2. So raise your voice, let the silence break. With every word, the tyrant shake. This was more than just a show. It's the spirit that refuses to go. Thank you for watching, for taking the ride. You stood with us on the freedom side.
Furycast Network.
Where the bold remain, we ride again through wind and flame. Until next time, stay sharp, stay true. We'll see you soon.